Good guys, I hope we are all good. Welcome to our Tuesday analysis, synthetic indices on deriv.com. So the main thing I wanted to talk about is just the quick buy which we had on B1000. So I'm just going to explain what I saw and how I executed on the trade and my targets and trade management. So on this particular asset, let's just quickly check my daily bias. Actually, when I came to the chart, I really didn't check the daily bias. The main thing which caught my attention today was the TDI confirmation. So this is one of my best setups actually, whereby price creates a lower low for that particular day and they create a baseline bounce on the TDI. So when I came to the chart, price was right here. This M15 candle was currently painting, and I noticed price was already showing signs of bouncing on the baseline. So we had one position, a current market price. That's when I sent the signal into the group. Then at the same time, this was also my view. So from the same M15, I noticed that, okay, so if this is going to be my peak formation low at this point, it means this is my order block and I'm going to look for safe buys around this area. So I knew where price was potentially coming to. At the same time now, if you notice, my initial TP was around 13,900. It was based on this order block here, which is most visible on M30. Again, this is also a short-term sell because price for me is being delivered to the downside. So I just anticipated this could potentially be a retracement. So for every retracement or for every trade against the trend, always know that the trade is short-term and we're only targeting 20 to 30 pips. Anything more is just a bonus. That's one thing to note. So at the same time, price was coming towards yesterday's lows, which is where I scaled out actually slightly above. Excuse me. And I had this order block here, which is also a supply zone where price can potentially get to. So I took my buy on the M15 candle. Then I dropped to M5 just to see what's going on there. So when I came to M5, I noticed that my buy was somewhere in here. Then I had a slight small order block in here. So I was using this as a safe entry from a smaller time frame just to confirm my bias. So price retraced a bit, then they spiked up to here. Then I added a position here based on this area. So I was anticipating a potential retracement and the continuation. But after scaling in, price didn't retrace. They still just pushed up all the way to yesterday's lows, which gave a total of about 40 pips actually. 40 pips on this trade. So for me, it was actually a good setup. The trade can still play out. They might still push to the top. That's also possible. But since we're trading against the trend, I don't want to force anything else. So I already scaled out. I even shared, I think I shared my chart here, told the guys to just manage the trade accordingly. So it's either you break even, you trail, you scale out, or you close all. It just differs with how you personally see the setup as well, because we always advise people to trade what they see, not my view. So B1 was a success. That was the only setup I took today. I don't think I'll take anything else, but I also had my eye on C1000. So when I came to the chart, I noticed this pattern and I noticed this H1 candle closing like this. And this was my order block. So I had advised a safe sell below 57. Let's see, it was 57 once. Safe sell was 57.45. So if price had come to 57.45 from this move, then we were going to sell here. But as you can see, price didn't get there. They just continued to push up. So we didn't act or get executed on that one. So what is my view on C1000 today? Looks like we are retracing. I would still love to sell, but right now it looks like price might retrace to this area. I think we spoke about this yesterday as well, and we didn't have a trade just based on this. So I'd love to get price into this area so that we can get a better entry. So for now, I do not have anything solid. You can see for price to get to a point of interest, they will have to take out liquidity here and liquidity here. So around 58.45, 58.50, I would say that's my point of interest. But if price reacts before that and shows signs of coming down, I'll simply locate a pattern from a smaller time frame and I'll look for a possible execution. So that's it for C1. Then C5 has literally been going sideways. I think we caught a sell yesterday. If I'm not mistaken, we caught a sell. At some point, we caught a good sell. And we're looking for a continuation to the downside. I think, yeah, I had marked this order block here. But one thing which I want to highlight is sometimes if a structure or if a level is not broken, the weight of this order block becomes less, or the how do I put it? The order block being valid, the validity becomes less. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. So as you can see, structure wasn't really broken and price tried to respect the zone, but there was no follow through to the downside. Price remained above the 13 EMA on H1 and price just continued being choppy. So for now, again, I don't have anything too solid, but I've got a point of interest here. You can see these lows. So maybe if we can get something like this, I might consider sales, or this price can potentially continue going up. But I want to pay attention to a possibility of a baseline bounce here, as you can see. So for us to get a baseline bounce, potentially we need a reversal candle of some sort on H1. And then on M15, we are going to look for a pattern. So what I'm anticipating, what could potentially happen is price might approach this zone here, which is around yesterday's high. If they set a peak and I can locate an order block, I'll anticipate something like this to happen, or maybe something like this to happen. Then potentially wait for a break and retest on the bottom here. So this is my first scenario to sell. This is my second scenario for a sell. Anything else which might happen, I'll have to do a reanalysis and execute according to the price action which I'll be seeing. Daily is still strong bullish. So you just know the reversal is not yet there based on my point of view, but we might potentially reverse because this market is like going sideways after that push up. So a reversal could happen soon. We might get price taking out liquidity here first, then the reversal pattern might form also. So any sell for now is short term until price gives a huge impulsive move comes below the 50 EMA retest and starts to go down. That's when a reversal will be confirmed. For now, any sell is short term, and all we have to do is just patiently wait. Then going to C3, sorry. Excuse me. C3, we came below the 13 EMA of the daily, showing potential to come to the downside. Oh, okay, let me just check the weekly. Okay. I noticed we took out liquidity above last week's highs with this week here. Potentially, I think yesterday I also anticipated price might want to interact with the 13 EMA. That cannot be ruled out. Okay, going down to H4. So on H4, what I have is a nice peak here, nice broken order block here. So there has been a break and a retest. We're still leaning on the downside. All we need is some form of reaction. We also have an imbalance here. So let's mark those points of interest, see if we can get a trade. So we've got an imbalance right there. We've got an order block on the H4 right there. So that will be around 27. Let's see, 27.48 area. Okay, 27.48. That's a 4-hour order block, and the fair value gap just above it. Also 200 EMA just above it. And price is most likely to react with the 50 level on the TDI as a confirmation, or around the baseline as a confirmation if we are going to sell. So I would say this is my point of interest. So let's just drop to the 1 hour time frame, see what we have there. Okay, so here we've got price came down aggressively, retraced into the zone, retested it nicely, dropped. So let me see if I can be able to run a fib on this particular market. So from here to here, okay, just confirming yesterday's move. Then for now, price looks like it's also in our point of interest. So all we're waiting for now is a confirmation. H1 TDI is also below the 50 level, showing the probability of this sell actually continuing down. I believe someone mentioned, a good brother of mine mentioned, we might actually get sales all the way to, let me just check. Let's see. I'm just okay. He sent the price level. It was at 2403, right? So from his view, he's seeing us going to 2403. Let's see where 2403 is, or rather 2400. Let's just round it up to 2400, which is the point he sees. Okay, awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. Okay, so price can potentially fall all the way to 2400. That's a potential target right there, 2400. So let's see. All we need now is an entry. Nice fair value gap there. If we run our fib from this low to this low, we currently on the optimal trade entry. We're currently inside a 4-hour supply zone. Yes. So all we need right now is price to give us a pattern on M15, then we can be able to take a sell. So what are we waiting for on M15? What we're waiting for is for price to create a peak. Wherever it will create its peak, then we are looking for price to break an order block. Then we will be in that sell. We'll try to hold based on what price will be showing us. But for now, we're currently above the yellow baseline also. So there's no confirmation yet for a sell. So let's rather wait for more confluences to line up. So what I also noticed is if we were to run this fib from this high to this low on the 4-hour chart now, you also see the 50 level and the 61.8 will be right here. which is in line with our fair value gap or imbalance on the 4 hour. So price can literally come all the way up here. Then we might get a pattern from there if we are going to sell. So we are watching for two things. Either price will come, respect the fair value gap, create a pattern on our smaller time frame, then melt to the downside, or price can actually come above. Then this will be an inverted fair value gap, and price might actually push up. All right, so those are potential plays in price, but I would love to see how they are going to react, especially if they get into the 50% retracement or into the fair value gap. So this, I'm going to leave it on this particular time frame. I also will be paying attention to a reaction here because this price might react off the supply, off this 50 EMA, and off this 32 level, and actually still drop. So those are points where we should just keep an eye on. Bro, thank you so much for joining. Let me know what you want me to look at. I've already looked at B1, C5, C3, and we'll be rounding up soon. So if there's something you want me to look at, just type for me there. Then I can look at it before I end the session. All right, so C1, again, keeping an eye on it. If we can break our safe entry, which is below here, I'll still be happy with taking sells. But at the same time, I also want you guys to notice there's like a divergence setup here. Price creating lower lows with this looking like a peak and price creating a higher high on the TDI. So if this is a peak, this price will be bullish soon as we break this level. So also just bear in mind, if price is to go the other way, where do we cut off ourselves? Or if you're in a trade, where are you going to cut your loss? So that's a point of interest. At the same time, price might just also take liquidity and still drop. So those are all just points of interest. Then I'm noticing there's this zone coming in between. Where is it coming from? Okay, it's this level here. Right, this low here, liquidity taken here. So price is sort of all over the show here. So don't let that zone confuse you as well. So it looks like it's also a trap zone the way price is moving, but let's just keep an eye. If we get a peak or if our safe zone is broken, then we are going to take a sell on this particular asset. B1, we spoke about it. Looks like it might actually push to the M30 zone, which we spoke about. Already scaled out. Some have already closed, which is still fine. I don't think I've got anything else for B1 today. Let's see. TDI is half on the bottom, half on the top. So it almost shows that price is almost like in a range still. So let's see, where can we get the trend being favorable to us? So I just want to mark this high here as a point of interest. So if this becomes a peak on H4, this is the order block. So for longs to continue or for the buy trend to continue, we need to come above those order block or above that zone. So we just mark that as a point of interest and we'll leave it on that particular time frame. And we just keep stalking on how it will be moving. J10 yesterday, did we trade it yesterday? What were we looking at? Let's see, this is the 4 hour. Okay, so from the 4 hour time frame, what I have here is I had marked the zone most probably for longs, right? But anyways, just to look at it today and see what price is showing. What we'll see is from this low price actually broke this level, right? Its structure has been broken. So we could potentially have ran a fib most likely on a smaller time frame, maybe H1, then get a point of interest. Here we also have this zone here. So let's just drop down a time frame and see what we might have. So coming in today again, before I change the time frame, I'm looking for a possible continuation to the upside, maybe a reaction around this area. Let me just mark that area as well. Okay. Then when we drop down to H1, okay, so when we drop down to H1, this is my view from yesterday. So the day before yesterday, I marked this point of interest. Based on my explanation, I think I was waiting for price to exit this range. Yes, I remember now. I was waiting for price to get outside yesterday's range, the day before yesterday's range, which was yesterday, right? So what I've just noticed is we could have actually ran FP here. Price came into our optimal trade entry zone 61.8 and respected that area. It continued to push up. So in C1, B1 is completed. Yes, B1 I exited, bro. I exited, but I'll explain it for you just now again because there is probability they could push up, but there is no confirmation. C1, we also spoke about it. Let me just touch on them quickly for you. Okay, so C1, I was saying I'm waiting for a safe entry here. I noticed you mentioned you are already in the trade. So I'm not sure what your trade plan was for the particular setup when you entered. But for me, I prefer selling when price breaks this area. That's what I mentioned. And I'm also paying attention to this area. This is H1, so you can just mark it. This price can also go up based on this divergence we're seeing here and a possible shark fin here. So this price might push up, maybe respect this area after taking out some liquidity, maybe give a short-term sell. Because as long as we come above the 50 EMA, the trend will be potentially bullish. And price will potentially be coming up to any of these areas where we will potentially sell from. So it's either we sell from here or we sell from here. In here only if we get a pattern, then a safe sell for me is here if price sells from here. So that's my views on C1. Then B1, I mentioned this price might actually then push up, but I want them to break this area first. I want them to break 14,020 for the trend to continue. Right now, it looks like we are sideways. There's no clean direction. That's why the setup we had in the morning was a short-term buy because they could respect here and still come to this level before they come up. There's no clean trend from my point of view. So if you're in the trade, manage it how best you can, depending on where you entered or depending with the setup you saw. But based on my setup is complete because this is already moved 40 pips by the time I was doing the zoom. And we are also around yesterday's lows, which is why I opted to scale out and close here because this price might still push down. And yes, they can still push up, but there's no denying that factor. But at the moment, I would prefer to be out of the trade and wait for more confirmations. So I hope that was clear. So again, the reason why it could push up is because today this is the low, right? Which is a peak confirmed by the baseline bounce, which is the reason why I bought earlier here. And we have an order block here. So if this order block is not broken to the downside, it means it will hold price here and the price can still push up. So that's also what you can use just to manage your trade. Try to use this order block here. So let me shade it. This is M15. The last order block you see before the low, that area there. So if you're in a trade, you can just have your stop loss below that zone and see how it plays out. So if this zone holds, we might see price actually pushing up. At the same time, 30 minutes, I've got an order block here, which was my initial target. So personally, I would rather wait and see how they play. I want to see them come up here back to 14,000 area. Remember 14,000 area was also a point of interest yesterday. So I want them to come above. Then I can start buying comfortably and actually maybe hold. So that's my view on B1. C1, we're stalking it actively because it has a potential of playing out. actively stalking it. As soon as they break this low, I'll be active in this trade, and I'll be targeting about 40 pips. I'll be targeting yesterday's lows as my take profit. That's my view on C1. We were talking about J10. So what we need to see today on J10, I need a retracement of some sort before I can actually consider a buy. Let's see here. Okay, take care, bro. Thanks for joining. All right, so I'm waiting for a potential retracement on J10. This will be my low right here. And if they start retracing, then I'll be able to run my fib. And I would love for them to retrace at least into this level here, this high which was broken here. If they can retrace into this area, then we can potentially get a good buy entry. TDI is on its way to come above the 50, giving us a directional bias of an uptrend. Price trading above the 50 EMA, confirming the uptrend. So if we can get a nice retracement, maybe price taking out the current lows and then pushing up, that will be the best setup on J10. So we'll just keep stalking on this one just to see how it decides to play out. V250, I noticed they came back to this high. Who can guess which high this is, this zone? We've been talking about this zone since last week. If we go to H4, is this area here. Remember this area when our price was still here. So that zone price came, took out liquidity. They came and did exactly the same thing. Took out liquidity, H4 showed a reversal candle. So as soon as price comes into a point of interest, this trader didn't trade it because the timing of this setup, I wasn't actively stalking it. So I didn't execute. What I'll explain now is how you can trade it in the future. So if you see price coming into your point of interest, which is this red line, what you want to see is H1 giving you reversal candles. So the first reversal candles we get right here, which is yesterday. So from yesterday's price, you want to look for a pattern. What is a pattern? A pattern is when your price is coming up, creates a peak, breaks its structure, then comes back to retest either this zone, retest the equal highs, retest an order block, or retest a fair value gap. So those are all confluences which you need as price pulls back into here. They can reject here, 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 or at the top, or even slightly take out liquidity on the equal highs before they sell. That's the pattern we look for if we are selling. So on that same area, if we drop down to the M15 where we actively look for the pattern, you will notice that this was actually the peak, right? This was the highest part. From that high, this was the order block, which had to be broken for us to actually sell this, right? So price, if I zoom in, you notice that price actually came down, spiked below, but didn't give a close. So depending with whether you entered here, if you enter here, your stop loss has to be outside the range because this is the high of the day. And if price is around the high of the day, you should know that it can potentially retrace for equal highs, come take out liquidity, or just come here and drop. So stop loss has to be outside the range. That's the first thing. Second thing is this price didn't close below. They came back. So these are equal highs, right? And again, still they didn't close below the order block. As long as you don't get a close, if you are waiting for a safe entry, rather wait for this particular close for you to actually trade. This is the safest entry, a close below your order block. And again, now this was a full pattern, and you can actively sell here with your stop loss above this last order block. Since price can still come and retest, then you can start taking profit on any of these moving averages or on any zone you might have on your left hand side. So this is how this could have been traded, but you can see the time this happened. This is 2 a.m. my time, so I couldn't be up to trade that. But again, I also want to explain this. How do you know that your price is at the high? So remember when this price started pushing up yesterday, this was the initial high, order block not broken, second high, not broken. Third high, order block not broken. As long an order block is not broken, just know that price can potentially extend the high and creates a new high until they eventually break an order block. That's when you can know, okay, fine, this last high is actually valid. Price is set the high of the day. Then you can execute your trade. So it's vice versa. If you're buying, it's just the other way around. So I hope that makes sense. So for today, I can see this price just melted, no major pullback. So if we drop, go to H1, I just want to see where they can potentially retrace to. They can still come up, back up here. That's where I would be happy to sell from, at the top up here. And again, I think I would rather wait to also get a retracement. Wherever they retrace from, then I run a fib, then I'll get a better point of interest. So for now, I do not have a better point of entry until I start to see them retrace. Then I can start to formulate a setup. So that's my view on V2501S. Step index, yesterday we didn't have anything solid. We mentioned price was moving sideways in an ugly manner, nothing too clean. And we are waiting for price to show us something so that we can get a setup. So what ended up happening is price actually ended up tapping into the 13 EMA on the daily. If you follow our sessions, you know that if we are tapping on the 13 EMA and if we're trading below the 13 EMA, we are looking for sells. If we are looking for sells, jump down to H1, look for a peak or look for a reversal pattern. So this was actually the highest part or the highest peak from yesterday or the highest high from yesterday's move. If that was the highest high, then this candle was the order block right here. This candle here. So based on H1, this is our order block, which we need to be broken and for price to close below before we even consider the sells, right? So if you're confident enough with your price action, you could have still taken a setup maybe somewhere in this area, then anticipated to add positions here. If you're still learning, wait for price to break below the zone. So remember, after you see this reversal, this is where you actively look for the pattern on M15 or M5. So if you drop to M15 on the same zone, we want to see if we could get an early entry yesterday, because at this point, price was most likely way on the 13 EMA on the daily. So let's cross check. If we cross check and zoom in, you see exactly that's it. We were on the 13 EMA, so we anticipate that rejection. This applies to anything you trade. If you see price in a down motion and you see them retracing to your 13 EMA, just know that around that area, you either get a continuation or you get a setup of some sort around that area. So same applies yesterday. 13 EMA H1 is confirmed, it's starting to reverse. Now we drop to M15 to look for a pattern. What pattern do we have here? So from this highest high, the only visible order block, which is black, or the last bearish candle, was this one here. But like I mentioned the other day, you can still use these small candles as order block as well. And all you need is a close below to confirm yourself. So if you entered here, like I said, stop loss goes outside the range. If your stop loss was outside the range, your trade was safe. It went sideways for a long time, came down, then retested that order block, retested the 800 EMA. TDI was confirming way before we got to today, with price respecting the baseline, couple of times respecting the 50 level, a couple of times as well. So entering in here, there was just a huge wait time here, but otherwise the trade would have played out. If you were entering after the H1 order block had been confirmed, it means you're waiting for this close right below this order block. This is an order block because of this peak, the highest high, right? So close below, we are looking for an entry anyway in here. So if you're to drop to a smaller time frame right in this area, you want to see if you can get a peak and an order block right on that area. So our close was here. This is our peak right on that area. This is our order block. Price comes down below, retests. You can enter anywhere in here or here. Then price dropped. You start scaling out here. Anything else which you get from this setup is just a bonus. So this is how you could have approached step one from yesterday coming into today. So today, what am I looking for? I'm looking for a potential continuation to the downside. What I need is a retracement. I still have a point of interest in the order block, which is still valid. I also have a point of interest in this low here. Then if price starts to reverse like it's doing right now, I can run a fib. Then you notice that my point of interest will start at 50, right on this level, 61, right on this supply zone here, in 70.5, which is still in the supply zone. So this is a point of interest for me. What I need to execute is a reversal candle. So I need price to push up, then reject this area. Then I'll drop to M15, then look to sell this and potentially maybe get to these lows. So that's my view on step, and I'm going to leave it on this particular chart and keep trailing it. If I do get something, if I'm trailing it actively and I spot something, then I'll still share in the group. You can still mark this order block or this supply zone as a point of interest because it's right in our 61.8 fib retracement area, which is also a resistance area from this low here from yesterday. So it's been broken, retested. We might get another retest and a continuation down. We might even get 2 touches before price pulls down. But if price comes above that area, just know we might now be looking for a buy. So that's my view on step. Then closing off with B500s. I don't know how we missed this one, but I think we only missed it because I remember I mentioned B5. I'm not actively trading it this much, that much. So let's just throw the template there, see where they respected. You can check the chart is not even marked, so I wasn't actively trading this. But what I'm noticing now is first you want to see where price acted, right? Price actually acted on this low where liquidity was taken. Price also first set this low, then they extended the low. Price also created this peak, and this was the first order block broken for those who were buying it yesterday. A safe buy would have been here when your price is now above the 13 EMA. Potentially, sometimes they will retrace and push up. That also happens. These are just variations. So from here, nice break, pin bar, continuation, nice break, no retest, a nice break in the retest. So price actually accelerated. This is what we call acceleration. Acceleration is when you see price move, breaking structures, but not giving a clean retracement for you to actually enter. So we've got so much acceleration here. For now, I do not have a point of interest. But the points of interest I actually have at this level, this level, this level, and this level, because now this is a demand zone, this is a demand zone, this is a support zone, demand zone, and a support zone. So with acceleration, there's no guarantee that price will come back here, here, or here. They might just respect this and continue, or they might go sideways here and continue. So if they decide to do that, it means there is no entry. That's what it means. If we get a clean reversal, we can still run a fib. Let's say they start to reverse from where they are. We can still run a fib and we can expect them to act around this demand zone on the 38.2 because there's so much acceleration here. By that time, the 50 EMA might be so close and they might also give a retest of the 50 EMA, then continue pushing up. So I would say for today, the only point of interest will be determined by where price starts to retrace from. Otherwise, you can just mark where these pauses in price are and wait to see if price will actually pull back into any of those areas to give a trade. So that's my current view on B1. C5 still nothing. Sorry, on B5. So C5 we're still stalking, nothing solid. C300 is coming into a point of interest. We've got a 4-hour fair value gap. We'll wait for it there. C1000 is still stalking. B1000 we already took a good trade there. J10 we wait for a retracement. V250 we'll wait for them to retrace as well. Step, wait for a retracement. B5 wait for a retracement. So that's my view for today, guys. I'll keep stalking and I'll keep advising during the day, but maybe in the afternoon I might go quiet because I'll be on currencies. I think we've got core CPI today, so my focus will be on currencies. But if I'm back on deriv, if I'm looking at the charts and if we get something, I'll let you guys know. Then we can all execute onto the trades. If there's questions, this is the time for questions. Let's see if there's a question. Okay, so for Forex, what we'll do is we are going to continue with New York live trading sessions, because back in the day, I used to do New York live trading sessions. I would log in my charts at around when the stock market opens. So the first New York session opens, then about I think it's 1 hour 30 later, the stock market opens. That's when I start streaming the live trading session. So I think we'll do the same, but I'll advise you on the exact times in the Telegram group. So for Forex, it will be live trading sessions. We'll actually be executing the trades live for about 30 minutes to an hour during the queues on time. That's when we'll do the live sessions. It will be the same Zoom link as well. I'll just let you know and we can all trade. Is there any other question? See, okay, you're welcome, bro. You are welcome. All right. If there's nothing else, guys, we can still continue chatting in on Telegram. No worries. If you still have questions or if you have something you want us to look at, we'll continue chatting on the Telegram. Thank you so much for joining. Those who are going to watch this on YouTube after I posted it, if you like our content, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Thank you so much for joining, guys. Wishing you a very productive day. Good trading.